Hello everyone, and welcome to my pickup guide on seeding fighting game events. This video will only cover what should or should not be done, or the things to keep in mind when seeding a bracket, and will not focus on the reason or the underlying purpose. If you are interested in a more in-depth discussion of seeding and bracketology, I have a much longer video linked in the description. While the main audience for this video is Smash and traditional fighting game brackets, the concepts can be applied to any bracket held on a regular basis. Now let's get started. Fundamentally, seeding is the manipulation of player positions in a bracket such that every player in the bracket continues to fight increasingly difficult opponents as the bracket progresses, and this ensures that those who receive payout earn payout. As you continuously run events for your local scene, this definition expands to also provide players the opportunity to fight against a diverse range of opponents in a tournament setting. When seeding, there are three considerations that need to be handled in order, and they are player skill, regional conflicts, and common player matchups. Player skill satisfies the first half of our seeding definition, while regional conflicts and common matchups satisfy the second. Let's quickly break down each of these. Player skill is what most people think about when they hear seeding. Skill is a subjective concept, however, and you may value peak performance, consistency, or other factors more than other tournament organizers. Be sure you can justify your decision to others in case they ask. That being said, player skill is not entirely based on an individual's head-to-head with another player. Some PR players may struggle with a matchup, but that does not mean that they need to be seeded below the person who is up on them in sets. Seeding for player skill is why power rankings exist. Familiarize yourself with the surrounding scene's PRs in addition to your own. Seeding for skill becomes much less important once you handle those who have a chance of earning money. My typical rule of thumb is to, with as much accuracy as possible, seed up to twice the number of players receiving payout, and making only minor adjustments to these seeds when looking at regional conflicts. Regional conflicts are the most important consideration out of the three. While retaining the money seeds as much as possible, adjust your attendees such that they receive a unique experience than they would if they had stayed in their home city. This may be an intimidating task at first, but as you continue to run events, you will become more familiar with knowing who plays each other based solely on their seed. Both players and organizers should keep in mind that for an event where local players make up the majority of the bracket, preventing local conflicts may be impossible. Winner's side is both more predictable and more important for preventing conflicts, while the loser's side has an element of randomness depending on your bracket software and the number of attendees. Because of this, focus on these principles in winner's side, and don't let the chaos of loser's side make you feel like you didn't seed well enough. Driving over an hour to play against someone you rode with is a terrible feeling, and can ruin an event for your out-of-region attendees. People that travel to your event are valuable, regardless of skill level, and should be treated as such. Common player matchups are typically an afterthought for most organizers. Additionally, it is the most difficult consideration to account for since you are also working around regional conflicts. However, should your attendees request it, or you observe that two players often play against each other at your events, try your best to accommodate them. Players should be able to experience a variety of matchups after multiple trips to your event, and providing your scene with the best possible experience makes them much more appreciative of the work that you do. You should always evaluate them in this order, as regional conflicts will not present themselves until you are completely finished with skill seeding. However, the importance of each consideration will vary depending on the type of event you are running. Larger or high payout events should have a lot of time and focus dedicated to player skill and regional conflicts, while a smaller local will want to prioritize a unique bracket for every player. Being a good seeder, as well as a good tournament organizer, requires you to be very observant about your scene. Travel often to nearby events, and pay attention to how every attendee places and plays, especially top-level players who don't fight often. Evaluating your own city's top players against others gives you the ability to accurately seed those traveling to your own events. Finally, if an upset happens, it's not always because you seeded incorrectly. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, be happy that your attendees are growing as a result of your events.